Hello, it's good to see you all again this afternoon. Hope you're doing okay. So I'm hoping you remember me. My name is Dr. Mullen. Some people call me Dr. Dolly because my name is Dr. Dolly Mullen. But you should feel comfortable. I told you before, if you need to call me, you prefer to call me Dr. Dolly, do it. I want you to feel comfortable with how you're what you're calling me. So the book that I'm going to read with you this afternoon is one of my favorites, I have to tell you. And so I like all of them, but this is an interesting one that I want you to think about also, with adventures, okay, all over. This book is called The Snowy Day. See the cover? And it's by Ezra Jack Keats. Okay, so as you might imagine, it's about snow. And what he's done is that he has, sometimes authors dedicate books to their friends. Sometimes they do that, and sometimes they don't. I just want you to know that this author did do that. And who he did this with was Tick, John, and Rosalie. They may be very, very special people for him, and I'm taking the chance to acknowledge who they are. Okay, so let's see. One winter morning, Peter woke up and looked out the window. Snow had fallen during the night. It covered everything as far as he could see. That can be a long ways. So there he is. You can see him in the bed. You can see snow in the background. You can see the window. There's a lot of snow. There is a lot of snow. And, you know, he's surprised, as you might imagine. So what he did was that after breakfast, he put on his snowsuit and ran outside. The snow was piled very high along the street. I like to make a path for walking, because just because it's snowing and you go outside, you have to make a path. You know, you'll get stuck. So there he is. He's outside, and he's gonna have to figure out how to get where he wants to go. Probably have to figure out where he wants to go. But there he is. He's outside, and he's gonna work this out. So what he does is that we're hearing crunch, crunch, crunch. Feet snuck down, sank down, sank down into the snow. He walked with his toes pointing out like this. He walked with his toes pointing in like this. Now have a look. You see his toes going this way. You see his toes going that way. He's trying to see what kind of path he can make. And not just to fall down, but so that he can look to see what it looks like, which each path looks like. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's a really good idea. So that's what he's doing right now. I made a sound. I put sometimes crunch, crunch, and then I put scrunch, scrunch, because I think that they may have made different sounds, the snow in different places. So, here we are. What he did then is that he dragged his feet slowly to make tracks. And he found something sticking out of the snow that made a new track. So let's have a look here. He's walking along. Things look okay here. He's making tracks. He's walking slowly. You can see it almost looks like train tracks, right? And there he is walking along, but he sees something sticking out down the way a little bit on the path, okay? And he figures out that it was a stick, you know, the kind that come from trees. He saw a stick, and that the stick was just right for smacking a snow-covered tree. Okay, now you see he has the stick, and you see this tree covered with snow. Now, Jack, he likes to have fun. So what he does, you know what he does. He takes the stick and he hits some snow off of the tree. That's what he does. And so some snow falls off of the tree. All right, so see, it's there. I'm trying to think of what happens. Well, down the snow fell. Plop! It fell right on Peter's head. Oh, it doesn't say that he hurt himself a really whole lot. It just said plop. Okay? Could have hurt, may not have. But if you read the book, he does continue to do what he was doing outside. He's still playing. So let's assume that the snow fell on his head, but he's still okay. Let's just make that assumption. We can do that. Oh, and in fact, look, he's still moving. He still has his tracks. So whatever happened, he got up and he's still moving. So that's a pretty good thing. I think that's good. Then he thought what he would do that would be fun is that he would join a snowball fight with the big boys. Okay? But he knew he wasn't old enough to do that, not yet. So he couldn't do that, but I will show you that the older boys did not mind throwing snowballs at Peter. Hope they didn't hurt him too much, but sometimes it happens like that. He couldn't play with them, not with the snowball fight, not just yet. So he has to find something else to do. Oh, so the next thing that he does is that he makes a snow person. You see the snow person? Snow people look like people. You see their face, little smile there, It's like a person. That's what they look like. And they stand up by themselves, if you can believe that. So he made that, and that was pretty much fun. He could do that by himself. He didn't have to have big boys to do it, So it was pretty good. I think that's a pretty good snow person, Then he thought after that, I'll make snow angels. I don't know if you've ever seen those, but those are very cool animals. They aren't animals. These are not animals. Angels are not animals, okay? What they are is that they are figures that you can make in the snow. You can see you're laying down flat on the ground and you make your arms and your legs go out like that, okay? And it looks like an angel. That's what it looks like. They're fun, okay? As long as you get up, you don't stay down there too long. They're fun. And so he did that. He enjoyed that. Happy for him. Okay, so that's what he did. Then he pretended to be a mountain climber. That makes me a little afraid. He said he was going to be a mountain climber. He climbed a great big tall heaping mountain of snow. I'm not sure how tall it was, but I believe him. I believe it was a tall heaping mountain of snow. That's what he did, and then he slid all the way down. Now, the photo here, there's Peter. He's climbing up. I believe he did this. I do. What's the point in reading a cool book if you don't believe what the character is supposed to do? I believe he did this. Okay? There he comes right down. Yep. Then what he did was that he picked up a handful of snow and another and still another. He packed it in a firm snowball and put it in his pocket. Remember his snowsuit? He put it in his pocket. Then he went to his warm house. Okay? He told his mother all about his adventures while she took off his wet socks, as you might imagine. Okay, by this time, he's wet, He's cold. He's been outside a long time. And he has snowballs in his pocket. I'm not sure he told his mother this. It doesn't say that he did tell her this. But you do see that he is having his wet clothes taken off. So at least he can get warm. At least he doesn't have to be uncomfortable anymore. So here he is. This is what he's doing. He's in the bathtub because he needs to get warm. Okay, that's what he has to do. And he has his ducky in the bathtub with him because I think Ducky's in the bathtub. A lot of people do that. I think that's a good idea, really. And so then what he did was that he thought and he thought and he thought, okay, what he did was he thought about all this snow and the snowballs. That's what he's thinking about in there, okay? It doesn't say that, but it says he thought and he thought and he thought, and the last thing that he did was that he put all these snowballs in his snowsuit, and so he's thinking about that, you know? So then, he's in a tub, he'll be getting out soon. It says, before he got into bed, he looked in his pocket. Okay, that's where the snowballs had been put. Looked in his pocket. His pocket was empty. Okay, the snowball wasn't there. He felt very sad. See him looking? That was his snowsuit. There's no snowballs in there. Okay. So he's going to bed. You can't see him. He's not crying. He's just sad. He's just very, very sad because he brought the snowballs home so that he could have something that talked about, that reminded him about what he had done that day. And they're gone. You should be thinking about where those snowballs are. Okay? That's what I'd like for you to think about for a minute. Because he's in his warm house. Okay? And I'm not sure what would happen with snow when he comes into his warm house. Something to think about. While he slept, he dreamt that the sun had melted all the snow away. When he woke up, his dream was gone. The snow was still everywhere. The new snow was falling. Okay, so maybe the snow that was in his pocket had melted in the warm house, and maybe the new snow was there and he's pretty happy, which is pretty good. That's why there's so much snow outside where he lives. My gosh. So after breakfast, he called to his friend from across the hall. There's a lot of people who live in that apartment, okay? He called to his friend from across the hall, and they went out together into the deep, deep snow, just as he had done the day before, okay? That's what he did. Now, this book is complete. Look at all this snow. It said there's new snow falling today. He and his friend go outside. They play in the brand new snow. This is a very, very, very good adventure that Peter had. It's just a good adventure. Now today, he's going to have a good adventure, we hope, with his friend. You know, I don't end books with the end. What I end books with, something that gives you something to enjoy and think about. So what I'd like to have you think about is what adventure you're going to have next. Fun adventure you're going to have next. Okay? I'll see you next time.